Hello, my name is Richard Price, and I'm here to talk about my new book, Late Gifts. The title has several meanings to me, and the most obvious is that it refers to my son, who was born when I was in my late 40s. The poems take off from my experience of parenthood, but they try to move out from personal experience to create new work and observe the world at large rather than turn inwards to autobiography. They track the changing ages of childhood as they materialize, and each has a kind of era where there is a rich wonder you don't imagine will change, but of course does. So in the book there are new nursery rhymes, there are poems of almost creaturely contentment, and there are poems which splice a child's view of the world with the perspective of a father learning really to learn again, as if a child himself. So I'll read one of the title poems. There are several poems that refer to late gifts. And this one is using the image of Pinocchio, who is said to become a child. But I reread Pinocchio, really looking at the father who is really trying to become a new kind of father. Late gift. That wooden gift needed to be a real boy, halfway between it and who, done to and does, a toy between timber and finger, loved and loves. But the need in his maker, the old carpenter, was stronger. It was the need, this need, to be a real father. And here are a couple of the nursery rhymes I wrote, and I wrote them for Rory, but I've included them in the book to share. Have you got a nose? Have you got a nose? Have you got a nose? Yes, you've got one of those. Have you got an ear? Have you got an ear? Yes, I can see one here. Have you got some eyes? Have you got some eyes? Yes, a nice surprise. People hurrying, January to December. People hurrying, they forget to remember. Have you got some toes? Have you got some toes? Yes, I've got some of those. Orangutan. Orangutan, orangutan, swaying in the trees, bouncing in the breeze, flicking all the fleas, licking all the toadchies. Orangutan, orangutan. In the book, the fragility and the sheer energy of the human life force transitions from the late gift of a child to the observations of less materially lucky children. We were all children once. Shocking street scenes and hidden real-life catastrophes occupy several of the poems in the Somebody's Child section. These poems are both a projection of my fears for my children and everybody else's, and a bearing of witness to the suffering which, let's not evade the issue, is the consequence of industrialized greed, consequence of the super rich. I'll now read Children Are Wild. Children are wild, and make dens with coats and a folding table in one-room bed and breakfasts. There are kids' homes in the condemned woods. Black polythene flaps like a wood gatherer in a glimpse of distance. One lean-to has the wet weight of silver birches for structural timber. There's stolen ply too, oranges, just a little milk in tea, thanks, and neat handwriting. An ex-soldier has settled in the shelter of a treehouse with its car door shut. All autumn he lays high, but now everything's gone bar the cut leaf of a sim, 2 turquoise sandals and an empty holdall. I myself was a late gift, born to my mother when she was 39, and that was an age regarded as almost freakish to have a child back in the 1960s. The birth of my younger brother, born 3 years later, was considered almost miraculous. There are poems in the collection which pay tribute to my mother, often in my thoughts as I look after my son, marvelling at not just her endurance, but her good nature and sustained creativity, almost all directed towards her care for her 4 sons. So I'm going to read 3 of the short elegies for my mother. I'll just read them all together. I need so much better for you, Mum. No, I'll say, Mother, to respect the laughter and Star Trek transfers which glow green-yellow long seconds after the light switch clicks. And the dark, you know, is hailed by gifts from this small child off school. A broken eardrum, was it? Or des mers flou? I can't say love. That word's too many kinds of true, catch-all for like, for lust, breaker of its own proud rule, that loves select, loves to fool. I'll love you until I die. I have not finished yet. The air is hot, thick with kapok, debt, this choke risk. I exist because of you, what you'd lend of yourself or give, that long list. I still receive your gifts, want to send these letters in thanks and awe. They're just here. And I have more. I could slip them beneath the door, but don't. I won't attempt to force them to appear on your side. They're distorted prayers, and God knows what for. I hope you knew how loved you were before they let you die. I can't see either why now so late I have to disagree with myself. After all this time, your life long past, loss still pulses up. Sleepless call to what? Your memory could not last. Holding fast, attempting still to know you, most details lost, and ending knowing the blanks stay blank for good. That is more than this sun can do. A dark task. A wicked stepmother wouldn't ask. Thanks. Thanks, replace grief. Abstract gratitude, but deep, backward high. I don't think poetry should all be sad face. Sorrow and anger can be shortcuts to a kind of fake seriousness, if you're not careful. A better measure of humanity is its sheer richness of emotional range. In my collections, I try to populate the book with all kinds of poems, rubbing up against each other, being standoffish, working in groups, working alone. There is an awful lot of fun in the book. Silly jokes, fish and chips euphoria, a goofing around with grown-up sacred cows. In some of the poems, I think of Marshall's witty Xenia as a model. Poems for the gift tags on presents for guests. And here's one which I based on the Myers-Briggs personality form. And it's a dialogue between father and son with special psychological tests. Personality test with worked examples. Are you made of dogs, fogs, or cogs? Son, dogs. Father, fogs. Are you made of cats, splats, or rats? Son, splats. Father, cats, rats. Are you made of sticks, tricks, or licks? Father, tricks. Son, licks. Are you lights, tights, or fights? Father, lights. Son, fights. Son, you're tights. Father, lights. Son, he's tights. Are you bones, phones, or moans? Father, phones. Son, moans. Are you playing, saying, or neighing? Son, saying. Father, are you made of coasts, boasts, or ghosts? Son, coasts. Father, ghosts. Are you made of board games, band names, or old flames? Father, band names, old flames. Son, board games. Are you a notepad, an iPad, or a launchpad? Father, a launchpad. Son, iPad. Son, he's a notepad. Are you country walks, serious talks, magic beanstalks? Son, serious talks. Father, you are not serious talks. You are magic beanstalks. Son, serious talks. Father, I'm country walks. Do you practice stagecraft, witchcraft, or Minecraft? Father, witchcraft. Son, Minecraft. Are you asks, tasks, or masks? Son, asks. Father, tasks, masks. Are you sneezes, teases, or pleases? Father, teases, pleases. Son, sneezes. Are you afraid of locks, rocks, or socks? Son, locks. Father, locks. Father, you're also afraid of socks. Son, just locks. In writing the collection, I developed a new form which I called the stepper. It meant rewriting the rules of the sonnet, giving it a new rhyme scheme, and making it a syllabic creature that lives incrementally, increasing syllable by syllable, beginning in hesitancy and completing in full-throated voice. As I became more confident in its use, I used it more freely, making variations of my own form, transferring more sonic sensitivity to the inside of the lines rather than the ends of them, and creating alternately pleasing and jagged fragments. I reversed it, calling that form the Dreepa, and that's in the book too. I've read some of these already, but here's a more abstracted one for my daughter, Ellie. 0 hours, the vast horse. She can't see family. The boss calls or does not call, and she texts, "Saws, can't, miss you guys." The Sultan of delete owns, and pays or doesn't pay. Sorry, system error, week to 10 days, no longer. The control she commands, the vast horse, snatched reins, the jumps, the trials. Please, petrol, money, please, please. Love you, Dad. Serious. And I revisited the prose poem in the book, especially in the twinned pieces Shore Gifts and Shore Thefts. These gatherings contrast the delights of the beach with the devastations of our future if we don't act to restructure the current system, a system which really is robbing us of our children's children. It is going to take a lot more than charging for plastic bags to do that, but it's certainly within our grasp. I believe it's not too late to radically restructure our financialized society and put aside our dependence on fossil fuels. The economic and the environmental are integrated with each other and have to be sold as if they were. When we do, that will be the best late gift of all. I'll finish with 2 poems which try to address all these themes in lateral ways. Left-hand drive. Stolen left-hand drive. Bench front seat. Europe or America. Kraftwerk. Harmonica. Contrast, compete. Choose the ready-made reel as you wake up at the wheel. A child in Cuban heels. The fall on repeat. It's way back when, or maybe the day after next week. Rituals and coins, jump cuts and joins. Now you hear her speak, but you miss the big reveal. When you wake up at the wheel, half robot, half antique. The fires have cleared and you're miles from lake and peak. Moonscape, ocean floor, airstrip, charcoal moor. You're way too weak to know if you can heal, but you wake up at the wheel. Wrong kind of antique. Your dreams are at the tip of your tongue. You know there's oil in the aqua lung. You spy the mime, but what gets sung? What's the pretty little deal as you wake up at the wheel? The slave trade, she says, makes suave transactions. The police and politicians, the press and all the rest are proud to be the faction of greed. They watch the blood congeal. They connive, collect, conceal, and you wake up at the wheel. You don't know the voice, but you love the mouth and speech, their playlist, their pliers, the way they seem to teach the invention of steel, and how to wake up at the wheel, at the final beach. An ecstatic insect, a twitching leaf. Which one's you? She says, half grin, half grief, but you refuse the windscreen ideal. When you wake up at the wheel, you cry in disbelief. You keep your own counsel, so it makes you hard to reach. You're way too fast, but she doesn't want to preach or joke or kneel, so you wake up at the wheel when the tires start to screech. You have dreams. The bell can't be rung. If this is home, it's false, too close, too far flung. You bide your time until you're stung by an emblematic bee, by reluctant, indignant zeal, and you wake up at the wheel. You have to stop the stairs and the schoolroom slaughter. Now you're underground, or it could be underwater. You're the star of the children's ordeal. A god with mass appeal. No, wait, a crab in a tightening creel as you wake up at the wheel. The road is too rivery for same-day delivery, and the crate has lost its seal. It spills space rocks and a platinum ring, gaskets and masochist string, brisket of lab-grown lamb, lurex, latex, and the I Ching, a yoga mat and a cuddly eel. It spills smallpox in files and a syringe, anthrax pamphlets from yesterday's fringe, dog baskets, dope, and body-positive bling, slops of butter from Kerry, rip-offs of Chuck Berry, his my ding-a-ling, a cricket bat, a baseball cap, and a bubbling Happy Meal. It spills sparkle socks and a paling tam lin, limpets and cleats, trumpets and receipts, laminated reviews of the rite of spring. It spills compromat and complan, a tiny Jane and Tarzan, sawn off tusks, custard dust, civet musk in a Silk Road sling, and jars of talismanic apple peel. A mechanical box slips and drops. It spills the ticks and talks of unscented seconds and ting. There are uncensored voices and recorded rejoices for the once and future king. A llama hat, lamprey and leggings too thin. And there are eggs exuded from crocodile and teal. It spills freesias, anti-amnesias, gifts for forgiveness at children's swing. There are hard-earned earrings, videoed hearings. A witness minded his own business, then opted to sing. It spills self-help, help yourself from the shelves of a selfless bookmobile. It spills palm oil for mouthfeel. It spills blue boy flocks and stuffed vine leaves in a tin. It spills tea and electronics, heavy avionics, voodoo for Brent from Beijing, and a thermostat and veal. It spills savoury chalks and sculptures from old Benin. It spills sacred caskets discovered in sparlets. One had been a nightclub bin. And notes of how people voted, and a SIM card loaded with a twice encoded squeal. It spills old locks and a new kind of spring, anklets with love heart and golden wing, a lucky cat with paw in pained appeal. It spills a throat-slit fox in mid-grin, muskets for Mohawks, advice for the Inca, how Christians must sing, a technocrat's guesstimate, a diplomat's testament, and the last harbour seal. It's starting to be surreal. The sky comes over all shivery above the hearse's livery. You're just realising you're both the man driving and the corpse twitching within. You're the ancient wiseacre, no, a toddler with a pacemaker, and baby's just grazed his shin. A man plays lollipops on a glockenspiel. You sniff, you cough, you might have nodded off. You try to be genteel and you wake up at the wheel. She wouldn't cross a picket line and neither would I. We agreed on politics but couldn't see eye to eye on how to feel. We said goodbye to keep the closeness real, and I woke up at the wheel. Are you still there? Are you still there? The sea is talking in its sleep. Are you still there? The sea is talking in its sleep. Are you still there? The sea is talking in its sleep. Fond names and no blame each. The sea would crush you, but you keep it within reach. Are you still there? The sea is singing in its sleep, hard tunes, songs ground from speech. The sea would crush you, but you think it's here to teach. Not every question sees the light on the hill. Not every question gleans the spoil from the spill. Do you think a question will keep the waves still? Oh, if yours won't, no one else's will. Are you still there? The sea is talking in its sleep. Are you still there? The sea is talking in its sleep. Are you still there? The sea is turning in its sleep. Stone dreams and bodies on the beach. The sea would crush you, but you keep it in reach. Are you still there? The sea is talking in its sleep. Are you still there? The sea is talking in its sleep. Are you still there?